Good morning. It's actually a little later in the morning. It's 10:31 a.m. and it's the 28th of September 2024. So I've been up for a couple hours. I just haven't spoken. Don't you love those moments? Don't you love those moments when you up but you haven't really said anything? You just kind of like chilling. You might get up, make you some tea or whatever, use a restroom, whatever it is you got to do. Oh, excuse me, but you're not speaking, right? And that silence in the house be beautiful, honey, for me, especially when the kids and stuff, back in the day when the kids would be asleep and stuff. It'd be early in the morning, like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'd be up, just doing whatever I could do, moving throughout my house, however I'm gonna move throughout my house, just to kind of, get some things prepared or whatever for the day. Kind of free of the anxiety of, gotta get up and go stuff, get up and go, get up and go, So, anyway, guys, so I'm just hopping on here because I know that there's been a lot that's been said behind the scene. And I think that people are, I want to think that people don't know what's happening, but I feel like people do know what's happening. And I think that people know what has happened. And I think that people know how it's happened, how it's being planned, how it's being put together. And also, people know where it's all coming from, right? And because of that, that's where I feel a bit betrayed, because I don't know, I just felt like it's not a skin thing either. It's not a race thing, ethnicity thing. It's not even a cultural thing. It's a human thing. It's like if you see there's someone or a group of people or whatever, and they are wronging someone, and you know that that person is being kept from the truth, why would you go along with something like that? Why would you contribute to that? And maybe I am being a bit naive, because maybe, people are people and people have alliances, and sometimes, you, I guess, can get into an alliance with someone who maybe doesn't do right by others as they should, I get that. I do. But the alliance is already formed, so it's kind of like, well, damn, what do I do? Do I walk away from this person, which would make a huge impact on, partnerships, future partnerships, things like that. And then if I do walk away from that person, then what am I walking away to? How will, if they are offended by me walking away, how exactly would I, what defenses do I have prepared to kind of have to deal with the backlash of someone being offended by me walking away for the right reasons, because everything they stand for behind the scenes is wrong. This is just me speaking and trying to figure out the mindset of someone who has the right kind of heart, but they may have been in some form of a partnership or an alliance with someone who just ain't right. And people don't show you who they are right off the bat. They don't show you who they are right away. Sometimes it be some years, and you finally see, you like, oh shit, I didn't even know that was like, you was like that. I didn't even know you were like that. I didn't even know that that you thought that way, you know? And sometimes I guess it could just be about business. It's just a business alliance. Where it's like, I don't really care, what you do with your personal life or how you move personally, as long as you get this deal done, right? I can see that too. There are a few angles I can kind of see some things from, right? I can also see where my circumstances have brought a lot of opportunities to the people who are within the community where I currently am. And wherever I step my feet, there is opportunity for people there. There's opportunities for people to make money. There's opportunities for people to get upgrades on their businesses. There's opportunities for people to, city council and local governments, and everybody can benefit. But the only person who doesn't benefit in my situation is me. It's like I'm being used as the token to help everybody else come up while I sit and suffer. And then it's not even that I'm playing victim, like, oh my God, I'm suffering so much. No, it's not about that. It's about me being restricted from being able to do what it is that I know I do, so that I can get back on my feet, so that I can make the moves that I need to make, right? Understand what I'm saying? So if I come in, this is how I'm saying it. If I come into a community and the community starts to benefit from my being within the community, right? Then I'm not benefiting at all. They're going to help whoever it is that has the money and the power by restricting me from being able to move forward or gain employment or gain, proper housing solutions. They're going to help the people with the money and the power, whoever it was or is that decided that they wanted to, kind of like put this bubble over me in a sense, right? And I'm kind of like, well, I don't have a problem with people wanting to, kind of do that. I'm actually very honored. But you can't be my world. And that's going to be an issue for a lot of people who are trying to assume dominion over me. That's not going to work for you. You know what I mean? It's not going to work for you. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I don't show several parts of myself intentionally, but I am not that kind of woman who can be in that type of a situation. It would be worse for you than it would ever be for me. And that's just that on that. And I'm talking whether that worse comes in at the end, or whether it comes in currently, or whether it comes in, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to come because there is something about me. There are other people who are like me too. You know how people say, especially in Christianity, people are like, I'm God's favorite. Jesus don't play about me, and this and that and this and that. I truly do believe that everyone is loved. On a spiritual level, everyone is loved, valued, and kept in a certain way that is unique to who they are, to the fibers of their soul, right? But when you are an individual person and you can only speak from your own perspective, right? I'm not saying I'm the only one. I can only speak from my own perspective. Okay. The Most High don't play when it comes to me. He don't play. He don't play them games, okay? He don't play the radio or any of them damn stations that y'all got. I'm telling you now, he don't play about me. And there's no amount of money, there's no amount of connection, there's no amount of community that you can build up against the Most High when it comes to his children. And I'm not going to lie to you about that. I don't have to get up and read the Bible every day, and I don't have to quote scripture. That's never been me anyway. But if I know that I'm connected, I know that you might not want to do what you're trying to do. And I've sat back and watched a lot. I said, oh, okay, First thing that happened was I noticed that, how you can take your, I don't know if it was Social Security number or if it was the number off your birth certificate. I can't remember. But you put that in, type that in, and you can find your individual stock, right? And so, where people can literally pour into your stock as a person. It's like the modern day slave trade, right? And so I said to myself, I feel like there's someone playing that game with me. I feel like there's someone who has stolen my identity and they're trying to play that game with me. And that probably wasn't a good idea, but because of how our country operates, they have legalized in the most clever way how to attain, maintain, and pursue ownership of other individuals. And if it were to ever be glorified in some kind of way, oh, well, it's perfectly legal. Well, I used to look into things like that, not as a potential buyer, but as someone who was really interested to know exactly how are we created in this country. How are we, I won't say created, but how are we set up as individuals to become stock so that people can buy into us based off of a number? That's why they say we're just a number, right? And so I was like, you know what, let me look into this. And so as soon as I started to look into this, how you have, just sidebar for a second, just sidebar. How, you have like an ongoing research project or something like that. It's not for a class. It's not for any particular reason. It's not, it's not to, meet any type of, standard or anything like that. It's just something that really interests you. So whenever you have a little bit of free time, you kind of, you might have like a little box somewhere with little notes and stuff in there. I don't know. It might just be me. I'm not sure. But you might have your little notes or whatever put to the side, and you'll go and break that little box out. And you go to your notes and you start, adding to it, right? So that was the beginning of my research project, was that. All right. And then everything started happening with me and my home and my businesses and all that stuff, right? I think a lot of people know where I'm going with that. So the ultimate was, one day I just wasn't able to find that information online anymore. And I was like, that's odd, because I've been looking into this for, some time now. And I shouldn't have to really worry about, information not being available to me. I mean, it's the internet. It's available to everybody, right? Well, not in all cases. And I'm one of those cases where that information one day just was not available to me anymore. All right. So a lot of that is happening with me. So when people say, go look it up, go do this, go do that, it's like, no, that a lot of what I just said is happening with me. A lot of information is blocked from me so that I can't see what is going on the other end of the internet. Okay. And that's been happening for a while. And I'm not speaking on this because, I'm trying to get anybody in trouble or anything. It's just that's my reality. So when people say, it was in the paper, and I'm like, which paper? Please let me know so that I can read it. A lot of effort and a lot of money has been put into keeping me from information that is valuable. And I've noticed that, especially over the last few years. And when I think about that, it reminds me of what we must have been going through as Black people, early on, where we were kept from the educational system that was sufficient enough to get us to a certain standard so that we could become more self-sufficient. I understood going through what I'm going through, not like I hadn't understood before, but just to kind of be in a situation where you're being oppressed in a way. Experience is always personal experience that can connect to historical events will always bring up a different fire in you, no matter what. And I'm like, wow, this is how our, foremothers and forefathers felt. They're trying to go to school and you've got all this other stuff going on and people trying to keep them from education and keep them from information and keep them from knowledge, and even down to the books, even down to trying to control what it is that you are learning. And I was just like, wow, that's crazy. Just to be in that, like, that's crazy because that's what I'm in. So, I do have my family, and I don't believe that my family is fully aware of what has happened. I think that some of my family members have been misled. I think that some of them have been misinformed. I think that some of them have been manipulated. And I went online and I went to go and look up one of my family members because I was like, let me look up my family. Let me look up my da 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 da, right? And I go look it up and I was like, where all these white people come from? I said, these are not my people. Not like that. It's not like I'm not saying anything like that because, people, they made up a really messed up rumor and said that I was racist. And I'm like, no, I am not racist, honey. Trust me. But I'm not going to keep walking around, the world saying, I am not racist. I'm not going to do that. It just is what it is. You feel what I'm saying? And there's a whole backstory about that, which I cover in my audio series. My audio, my voice memos, excuse me. I talk about the whole backstory of that and how that happened or whatever. But there are people who know the truth. Fact checkers who have gone out and gotten answers and things like that. They know what's going on, and they know that that lady set me up. They know that. So anyway, or was part of the setup, right? And it's in that, even in that experience, it tripped me out because I was like, God, the length that people will go to cover up the true parts of themselves. Like there are people who are truly ashamed of themselves and they move in the shadows and they're not okay with themselves. And the moment that they show a bit of that to someone else, they think that by them showing their secret to someone, that gives them ownership over that person in some kind of way. And so now there's this loyalty that's expected. There's this dominion that is, trying to, that they start to try to plant the seeds of dominion over you. And I'm like, baby, that ain't gonna happen. When you're ready to talk about who you really are, then, more power to you. I wish you nothing but the best when it comes to that. But I am not gonna let you, plant those seeds of dominion over me. I don't even know you. Okay, and let me move on. Now, see that attitude right there? That's why bitches don't like me. You're too nonchalant. You're too this and you're too that. And bitch, you ain't even that cute to be acting like that. And bitch, you don't even have the education that I have. How dare you think that you can talk to me that way? Bitch, nobody's thinking about you. Nobody wants to be you. Look at what you're going through. Look at who you are. Look at what, what I hear underneath all of that? Insecurity. That's what I hear underneath all of that. It doesn't hurt my feelings. You're not telling me anything that I don't already know. What you're doing is showing me your weaknesses and you're showing me exactly who you are. Period. I hate to say it. All right, but it is what it is and we all do it. I do it in a positive way. I do it to relate to people and allow people to understand that it's okay to feel a particular way and to be who you are and to grow in that and to accept yourself and love yourself every step of the way, even in the midst of self-improvement as you're trying to grow. You can't grow without self-love and self-acceptance. You have to understand who you are. So self-realization is a big thing for me. Assessing your thought patterns, your behavioral patterns and things like that personally, and then making the adjustments where you need to is so important. All of this self-love and shadow work and personal journeys and healing journeys and all that stuff, that shit is, I'm not just throwing those terms out there. It's a real thing if you truly want to be your best self. Some people are not used to being around people like that though. And I didn't know that. I did not know that. Because I'm a loner, so I just didn't know. I thought it was normal. I thought everybody was supposed to feel that way. And then I started running into people who were really toxic. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, okay. Well, I'm not here to judge you, baby. Well, here, let me sprinkle you with a little bit of what I got. And then we going to move on from here, okay? And then we're going to figure it out, all right? We'll figure it out. But if your toxicity starts to spill over into what I'm trying to do, and I know that what I'm doing is coming from a pure place, I ain't gonna be able to rock with you. It's nothing against, I have nothing against you. It just means I can't rock with you because what you got going on, you're okay with that, but I'm not okay with that. That can completely, poison everything that I've built, and I can't have that. So see that right there, that moment right there, that's where people try to destroy me. Because within those moments right there, that's where people think, they start saying, "Oh, you think you're better than me. You think you're better than me." because I have these issues and you don't have these issues, you think you better than somebody. Well, I'm going to fix you. I'm going to go out, I'm going to slander you. I'm going to go out and tell people that you're racist. I'm going to go out and tell people, I'm not going to tell them what I got going on. But just in case you decide you want to tell somebody what I got going on, let me get ahead of the curve and I'm going, you know what I'm saying? So that is where that comes from. That is not a fact. I'm not racist at all. Okay. But moving forward, like I said though, and I think that a lot of what has happened to me over the last few years has been because of that. And it's caused me to self-reflect and say, okay, well, what is it about how you are interacting with people that you eventually find are not compatible with who you are? You know, whether it be in friendships, intimate relationships, associations, business relationships, whatever the case is, whatever it is, what is it about how you communicate that is causing this reaction? So I separated from people for a while so that I can evaluate who I am, how I communicate, my thought patterns, you know, the entire thing, you know, because it's all about how you interact with yourself, which shows in how you interact with other people. Just like how you love yourself will reflect on how you love other people, right? So for me, I realized that people think that I'm arrogant because I spend so much time by myself and I spend time working on myself. Every other thought is me working on myself. If I just have a conversation with someone, I'm evaluating that conversation to make sure that I haven't offended anyone. Some people call that social anxiety. No, it's not. When you're trying to make sure that you're communicating properly and effectively with people, you know, you do that. When you care about how you leave people, then you're going to do things like that. That interaction, I said that, they said this. Did I offend them at any point? No, I don't think so. But wait a minute, let me take a look. Let me think about this. No, I think that was a healthy interaction. And then you move on about your business. Okay, so I started doing that more because I realized that I was offending people. But then I had to understand, you know, sometimes people be on drugs and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like people be on drugs sometimes. People, you know, they have their own little, you know, vices, and it alters the way that they think, and they'll make something out of nothing if they have underlying feelings about you. You know, so I had to realize that, cuz see, I don't do drugs. I've definitely smoked a little weed in my day, and I don't discriminate. Okay, it's just not my thing. It's not my thing. Um, you know, my thing is I like wines. So, you know, I like wine. So, you know, whenever if you don't see me with anything, you're gonna see me with a glass of wine, you know, or you know, a flute filled with champagne. That's it. You know, but you're not gonna see too much of anything else because it's just not my thing. So when I say all this, I say it to say that I've already evaluated how I interact with people to the point where I understand that whenever I'm interacting with someone, it's coming from a healthy and pure place. So if someone finds something wrong with that interaction, that means that there's something else happening there, if you get my drift. All right. So I've noticed that will breed insults, underhanded comments, backhanded compliments, two-facedness, backbiting, all this craziness. I've noticed that that's what comes with that. So I limit my interaction with people, especially now, because I realize that my energy, it's like I said, the Most High don't play about me. And so I'm like, no, if I get offended by someone, I don't really want anybody to have to deal with that kind of energy. You know, if I offend someone, I'm human. So I'm like, I might not feel like addressing the fact that I've offended someone. So let me just not even have any interaction right now. It's nothing personal against them. I'm not being mean or anything like that. I'm actually naturally the sweetest person you will ever meet, to be honest. But I have found in these recent weeks, especially, I'm like, I have to protect that because these folks will drain you, honey. They will drain you of your energy, and then they'll take the energy that they get from you, and it will be completely contaminated, and they'll spew out all kinds of bullshit using your energy. And I'm like, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't partake in that exchange anymore. So if I start a conversation with you, it is truly a compliment. If I'm engaging in a conversation with you, it is truly a compliment from me to you, because I am no longer extending my organic energy to just any person that I come across, because it's too much. And at this point, I'm dealing with this vampiric, impure energy that is really just trying to pull as much good energy from me as possible, and I just can't have it. All right. I think that is a part of the bubble, right? I don't know if you guys have seen this movie. It's kind of old. It's an animated movie. I used to watch it with my kids. Oh, give me a second. I used to watch it with my kids. And as a parent, to my fellow parents out there, don't you love being able to find truth in those movies that you watch with your children? Like, I just love that it's not just for entertainment. Sometimes you be watching that shit and it be some sexual innuendos and stuff in there, and I'm like, okay, now here we go with this bullshit and this conditioning, with these babies now. I can't have that. So, but I remember this particular movie called, I think it was called the Owls of the Guardian or something like that. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? I love that movie. It's such a good movie. Goodness, I can't remember. I want to say it's like the Guardians or something, but they're like this. It's about the it's about owls basically in their life, right? And so there was this one scene that I always referred to. In fact, I referred to it in some of my audio, my voice memos, where there's this one scene where the main character, he's obviously an owl, and he has a little sister, and the little sister gets sucked into this, I don't know, vortex of, toxic energy that, turns everyone into zombies, right? And there's like this evil queen owl who was, honey, she was sickening. Don't play with her, first of all. Why do beautiful ones always got to be so evil? Like, ooh, wait. That's crazy to me. Goodness gracious. But so they had this really evil queen owl, and she oversaw all of, she oversaw the entire operation. Obviously, it's a part of her queendom, right? And so there's like this energy. It's a ball of energy, a bubble of energy, and it sucks all the life out of all the other owls. But for me, the way I saw it as an adult, I saw it as hypnotism and energy, um, like the energy of a energy. What am I trying to say? Energy depletion. There we go. Right. So I'm like, what is this? And so everybody's like zombies. They don't have the strength to fight against this force that's unseen, but everybody else can see it from the outside. But the people who are in it, they can't see it because they're in it. Right. And so he goes in there and he's like, I've got to get my sister, because they have like these English accents. And he gets his sister and he's in there and he is like about to be overtaken by this energy, you know, but he sees his baby sister and he's in there trying to get her. Right? Child, when I tell you that movie, listen, if you know, you know. When I tell you that movie, it damn near had me crying. I was like, get her, don't let her stay in there. I was just like, this like the childlike part of me versus merged with the grown up part of me was just like, get her. Don't let them have her. Right? It was really, really a powerful, powerful movie if you can watch it all the way through, because it is kind of long, But I'm terrible at recapturing movie scenes, you guys. I'm terrible at that. That's not my gift, okay? So go watch the movie. Anyway, and you'll understand what I'm talking about when you watch the movie. But I feel like that's what I'm in. And I feel like who I am organically